Did you know that in just 2 weeks, your legs can lose up to 10% of their strength simply because they're missing the right vitamins? 2 weeks. And sometimes that strength doesn't come back. Hi, I'm Dr. Mike. I'm 91 years old, and after spending over 6 decades taking care of people just like you, I've learned something many doctors forget. The cramps, the weakness, the unsteady steps, they're not just a part of aging. They're a signal. Your body is calling out for help. Maybe you felt it lately. That sudden cramp that jolts you awake at night, that strange tightness in your calves when you're just trying to walk across the room, or the way stairs suddenly feel steeper than they used to. You might have thought, well, I guess this is what getting older feels like. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? Today, I want to show you 3 simple nutrients that have helped hundreds of my patients, people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s, stop the cramps and regain strong, steady legs. No gimmicks, no expensive pills, just the right support at the right time. Even those who had almost given up, some in wheelchairs, have told me, Dr. Mike, I never thought I'd walk like this again. And I want you to know, if you've been feeling unsure, if your legs don't feel like they belong to you anymore, there's still so much you can do. So, I need you to stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover what might be the most important health shift of your later years. But first, let me introduce you to someone I'll never forget. Her name is Evelyn. She was 78, and she used to be terrified of stepping down the stairs alone. Until something changed. Let me tell you her story. Evelyn was 78 when she first came to see me. She walked in holding tightly onto her son's arm, no cane, no walker, just her son. But you could see in her eyes she wasn't proud of that. She didn't want to be helped. Her legs were shaking, her back slightly hunched, and every step looked like it took a mountain of effort. She looked at me with this mix of frustration and shame. And softly, almost like she didn't want to say it too loud, she said, Doctor, I don't understand. I eat, I rest, I try to move every day, but I feel like my legs are giving up on me. Have you ever felt that way? That your body isn't listening anymore? That no matter what you do, you're just fading? Her son stepped in, eyes filled with worry. He told me Evelyn used to be strong. After her husband passed, she stayed inside more and more. At first, it was just small changes, less walking, shorter steps. But then she started skipping breakfast, lost her appetite, and soon enough, she couldn't go down the stairs without help. I sat with her, looked her in the eye, and I said, Evelyn, your legs aren't weak because you're old. They're weak because they've been running on empty. She blinked. Empty? She asked. Empty of vitamins your nerves and muscles need, and the longer they go without them, the harder it is for them to come back. Her story might sound a little familiar, maybe too familiar. Maybe you've skipped a few meals lately. Maybe you've been sitting more and moving less. Maybe you thought, well, I guess this is just how it goes. But what if it isn't? When Evelyn came back 3 weeks later, she walked into the room by herself. No arm, no cane, just her. And she smiled, really smiled. She said, Dr. Mike, I feel like myself again. And that, right there, is what I want for you too. Now let's look at what might be happening inside your body, and how you can know if it's time to make a change. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you stood up from a chair and felt your legs wobble just for a second? Have you ever reached for the wall, not because you were dizzy, but because your body didn't feel steady enough on its own? If that's happened, even once, I want you to keep listening. You see, what Evelyn went through wasn't rare. I've seen it in hundreds of women over 60. Many of them thought they were just getting older. But when we looked closer, their bodies were quietly sending them warning signs. And the earlier you notice them, the faster you can take back your strength. So here's a quick check-in. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with a cramp so sharp it makes you jump? Maybe in your calf, maybe your foot. and you're left rubbing it for minutes, wondering what just happened. Do you ever feel like ants are crawling across the bottom of your feet, or a strange tingling that runs down your legs, especially when you've been sitting for a while? What about that heavy, tired feeling, where you walk across the room and suddenly want to sit down again even though you didn't do much? And tell me this, have you started avoiding stairs or looking for handrails just in case? If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, you're exactly who this message is for. Because these aren't just small annoyances. They're your body's way of saying, hey, I'm running low on something important. Most people ignore it. They wait. And by the time they're forced to act, the muscles have already shrunk and the nerves have already begun to misfire. But that doesn't have to be you. Right now, you can take the first step. And it starts by understanding what's really going on, why your body's been struggling, even when you thought you were doing everything right. Let's open that door together. Imagine your legs like a small army. Every step you take, every time you rise from a chair, your muscles and nerves work together like trained soldiers. But what happens when the commanders of that army go missing? That's exactly what it feels like when your body runs low on 3 vital nutrients. Let's start with vitamin B12. Think of it like the insulation around electrical wires. When you're younger, that insulation is thick and smooth. Signals from your brain shoot down to your muscles quickly and clearly. But as the years go by, especially if you're not getting enough B12, that protective layer begins to wear thin. The nerves start misfiring. That's when your legs feel like they're not fully under your control. Have you ever stood up and felt like your legs didn't respond the way they used to? Then comes vitamin D. Most people know it's good for bones. But did you know it's also essential for muscle strength and coordination? Without it, your muscles weaken faster, and your balance becomes shaky. And here's the tricky part. After the age of 60, your skin doesn't produce vitamin D from sunlight the way it used to. Even if you're outside, you may not be getting enough. And then there's magnesium. It's the quiet one, the mineral people forget. But without enough magnesium, your muscles can't contract and relax smoothly. That's why so many people get painful nighttime cramps. They're not just random. They're signals. And chances are, you've felt them. So let me ask you this. Do you think your body could be missing one or more of these? What if all 3 have been running low for years without you knowing? You might be thinking, but I eat normally. I don't skip meals. How could I be missing vitamins? That's what we're going to explore next. Because even if your plate looks full, there may be a silent reason why your body still feels empty. You might be wondering right now, if these vitamins are so important, and I eat regular meals, how could I be missing them? That's a fair question. And the answer might surprise you. After the age of 60, something changes inside your body. Quietly, without any warning. Your stomach begins to produce less acid. Not enough to help fully break down and absorb vitamin B12 from your food. So even if you're eating eggs, fish, or chicken, your body might only be getting a fraction of the benefit. And there's more. Many medications that are common in people over 60, like acid blockers for heartburn, water pills for blood pressure, or diabetes meds, can slowly drain your reserves of B12, magnesium, and even vitamin D. Have you been taking any of those for a while? And think about your lifestyle. Are you spending more time indoors these days? Do you avoid sitting in the sun because of sensitive skin or fear of burning? You're not alone. Most older adults do the same, but it also means your body is getting less and less of the gentle sunlight it needs to make vitamin D naturally. And magnesium? Well, processed foods, white bread, sugary snacks, they may fill your belly, but they don't feed your muscles. Magnesium lives in leafy greens, seeds, nuts. And if those aren't in your daily meals, your muscles could be starving without you realizing it. So the real problem isn't just aging. It's what aging does quietly, in the background, to the way your body absorbs and holds on to nutrients. And the result? You start to feel weaker. You cramp more often. You hesitate when walking down the steps. But here's the good news. Now that you know what's really going on, you can do something about it. And you don't need expensive pills or complicated regimens. In fact, what I'll show you next might be the simplest health plan you've ever followed. And yes, it works. Now that you understand what your body might be missing, let me show you how simple it can be to give it back what it needs. You don't need fancy supplements or a dozen pills a day. In fact, most of what your legs are asking for can be found right in your own kitchen or just outside your front door. Let's start with B12. This is one of the most common deficiencies I see in older adults, especially women. The good news? You don't need large amounts to feel the difference. A small serving of boiled egg at breakfast, a bit of chicken breast at lunch, or even a cup of plain yogurt can gently refill your B12 stores. And if you're vegetarian, don't worry. Fortified cereals or plant-based milks with added B12 can still do the trick. The key is consistency, just a little, every single day. Now think about vitamin D. Remember that warm sunlight you used to enjoy? Just 10 minutes of gentle morning light on your arms, your face, is often enough to get your skin working again. You don't need harsh sun or long hours. Just sit by the window or step onto the porch while you sip your tea. And if you can, try adding salmon or sardines into a few meals each week. Don't like fish? That's okay. Fortified milk or even a vitamin D-enriched plant milk can help. As for magnesium, it's that quiet hero your muscles love. A small handful of pumpkin seeds, some almonds in the afternoon, a bowl of steamed spinach with dinner, all of it helps. And here's a tip many people miss. Eating half a banana before bedtime can actually ease night cramps. It sounds too simple, doesn't it? But I've seen it work, over and over again. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to make a few small decisions every day that send a signal to your body, I haven't given up on you. And when your body hears that message, it responds, more powerfully than you think. Now let me show you someone who proved that, one quiet morning at a time. Let me tell you about Michael. He's 82 years old, and the first time he walked into my office, he looked tired. Not just in his face, but in his whole body. You could tell something had worn him down. He told me he used to be a mechanic, worked with his hands for decades, but now he could barely walk 5 minutes without needing to sit down. Every night the cramps came like clockwork, sharp, sudden, and strong enough to make him break into a sweat. He told me, "I thought I'd be in a wheelchair by the end of the year. I didn't want to be a burden on my kids." Have you ever had a thought like that? That quiet fear that your independence might be slipping away? I remember sitting across from Michael, looking at those calloused hands and saying, "You're not broken. You're just depleted." He raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" "It means your body hasn't been getting what it needs. But we can change that." And so we did. I gave him the same plan I shared with you just now. Nothing fancy, just 10 minutes of sunlight each morning, a piece of salmon or egg at lunch, a handful of seeds in the afternoon, and half a banana before bed. No supplements, no prescriptions, just food and hope. The first week he didn't feel much, but by the third, the cramps started to ease. He called me and said, "Doc, I actually slept through the night." By the 6th week, he told me he was walking out to his garden again. Slowly, yes, but without help. No cane, no panic. Just quiet steps and a deep breath of morning air. And when he came back to see me, he pulled out a chair and sat down without effort. Then he grinned. Didn't think I'd be able to do that again. Michael's story isn't special. It's simply what happens when your body finally gets what it's been asking for all along. And you're not any different. By now you might be thinking, okay, this makes sense, but where do I start? That's exactly what Michael asked. And Evelyn, too. So let me share with you what I told them. The 5 golden steps. Think of them like small daily promises you make to your body. Nothing extreme, nothing expensive. Just a rhythm, a routine, a return to strength. First, never skip breakfast, especially not the kind that gives you real fuel, like an egg, or plain yogurt, or a bit of fish. Your muscles wake up hungry, and what you give them in the morning decides how strong you feel the rest of the day. Second, spend 10 quiet minutes in the morning light, before 9 a.m. if you can. Just step outside or sit by the window. Let that gentle sun touch your skin and whisper to your cells, it's time to make vitamin D again. Third, give your body at least one serving of something rich in B12 or vitamin D each day. It doesn't have to be big. A boiled egg, a small piece of salmon, 1 glass of fortified milk. Think simple, not strict. Fourth, add magnesium through food you already enjoy. A handful of almonds, some leafy greens at dinner, half a banana at night. These things calm your muscles, especially while you sleep. And finally, start now. Not later. Not when it gets worse. Not when the cramps become unbearable or the stairs feel impossible. Have you ever said to yourself, I should have done something sooner? What if today is your sooner? Because every time you act with intention, you send a message to your legs, your nerves, your muscles. You tell them, I'm here for you now. Let's rebuild. And you'll be amazed at how ready your body is to respond. Let me leave you with one last message. Something soft, but powerful. Right now, maybe you're sitting at your kitchen table or leaning back in your favorite chair. Maybe your feet feel a little sore. Maybe you're thinking about the last time you had a full night's sleep without a cramp waking you up. And maybe, just maybe, a quiet voice inside you is whispering, could this really work for me? I want you to listen to that voice, because it's not asking for miracles. It's asking for one small chance, one step forward, one morning where you eat before rushing, one afternoon where you choose seeds instead of sugar, one evening where you sit in the sunlight instead of watching the clock. You haven't missed your chance. You're not too old. You haven't waited too long. Your legs remember how to be strong. Your nerves remember how to fire. Your muscles remember what it's like to move without fear. The only thing they've been waiting for is you. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before you do anything else, I want you to say this out loud. I am not helpless. I still have the power to change. And if this video gave you something helpful, if it gave you a plan, a little bit of hope, or even just a reason to try again, then I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. Tell me what symptoms you've been facing and which of the 5 steps you're ready to try first. I read every message, because no one should walk this health journey alone. And if you know someone, your sister, your neighbor, your husband, who's been struggling to walk with confidence again, please share this with them. You never know when one small piece of information could change everything. I'm Dr. Mike, and I believe this with all my heart. No matter how old you are, it is never too late to do something good for your health. Take care of your legs. They've carried you this far. Now it's your turn to carry them forward, with love and with strength.